That's it.
There you go. All right.
All right, thank you, man. You have a good one. Oh, here it is. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in once again. Today, it's gonna be a little bit different of a video from all my previous ones. Today, I'm actually gonna review a bait, which I'm sure 99.9% of you guys will recognize. That is the Hinkle trout. Here's a little sneak peek of the Hinkle trout. She's beautiful, isn't she? The problem is a lot of guys buy the bait and they just sit on it and they, don't really fish it. The only reason I invest in a swim bait is to use it and to get it bit. So unlike a lot of people, I'm gonna toss this Hinkle trout and hopefully it gets bit. Today, I'm going out with my mama for a little bit, so won't be doing as much fishing, but she's only gonna stay out for a little. So when she leaves, I'm gonna go grind it out and hopefully catch a giant. But if I don't, at least I'll tell you guys the ins and outs of the unicorn of a bait, that being the Hinkle trout. I'm gonna show you guys why this bait is as rare and expensive as it is. I'll see you guys out there. Being that this box is pretty huge, you can tell that what lays inside is also pretty huge. This particular swim bait, if you guys haven't heard of it, is 12 inches long, weighs 10 ounces. Even if you could possibly get your hands on one, sadly, you can't throw it on your ordinary setup. I'll be pairing this girl up with an extra heavy rod and a 300 size reel with 25-pound fluorocarbon. Right here is the extra heavy swim bait rod I was telling you guys about. I'm actually gonna do a review on this particular line of rod in the near future. We got a 300 size Tatula and some 25-pound AbrazeX fluorocarbon. So we're gonna tie up that Hinkle trout and then go get them. You like the bait?
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. Before we get to fishing with Thai Pig Patrol, I wanted to talk a little bit more about this monstrosity of a swim bait, that being, like I said, the Hinkle trout. Also, like I said, this particular bait is 12 inches long and weighs about 10 ounces. What I'm gonna show you guys is how this thing is fished. You might look at this bait and think, there's really only one way to fish it, and that is really slow. This particular model is actually able to fish very fast, which is rare for a bait this size. And the cool thing about these particular baits is Andrew Hinkle makes every single one of them by hand. Every little fine detail on this bait will cause it to have a different swim than the other one. So this bait is very unique just because of its hand carving. At the beautiful rowing center, actually the spot where I caught Ladybird Lake Record bass, I guarantee you, most of you guys who watch me know that I caught that Ladybird Lake Record, and that was actually off of this particular dock. So if you want to know where I caught it, we'll show you right here. But coming back to the place where it all began, years later with a much bigger swim bait, really not going to try and catch anything on it, just going to show you more about the bait itself and the way this beautiful bait swims in the water. Zoom in. So, fished that big girl for too long. I am extremely hot and extremely sweaty, and unfortunately didn't get her to fully commit. But the spot I am standing right here is actually the corner of the dock where that 13.5-pound bass, 27.5 inches long, when I was 14 years old, came off of right here. But without further ado, I'm gonna show you the wide glide on this baby right here. As you guys can see, big sweeping glides. A lot of the times, the big fish, when I get them to follow it, that left-right, will get them to eat it. And this bait right here has a ton of drawing power. Here's a different retrieve on her, a slow retrieve. You can work this thing extremely slow and the bait will just glide left to right. And a lot of times you'll pull a fish up on you when it's like this, and they'll be following it, and then when you give it that left right is usually when they'll commit. But even at slow speeds, it swims great. And then last retrieve, a burn, which actually a lot of baits this big won't do this, but this hinkle trout burns extremely fast. And when the fish are really fired up and looking to eat, they tend to eat it on that burn. But all different types of retrieves will trigger a bite. Well, walking along this dock brings back a lot of deja vu from that fish, which has honestly put me into the position where I am today. So I'm forever grateful for the Texas Rowing Center. I guarantee you everybody watching this video knows exactly where the spot is. And sadly, the fishing on the lake in general just isn't what it used to be, but there are still giant bass here. So I'm gonna come back and catch that big girl that eluded me on the hinkle trout. So hopefully next video you guys will see probably a 6 or 7 pounder smoking some kind of bait off the bottom. Well, she's all locked and loaded, ready to go. Today I'm actually meeting with a guy that I guarantee you 99.9% of you guys will recognize if you watch fishing YouTube. His name is Ty, and his YouTube channel is Ty Pig Patrol. Him and I share a very common passion, that being we love to catch giant fish. So a while back, one of our mutual buddies named Brandon put us in contact, and I reached out to him and I said, hey man, you want to experience Austin and come out with me and throw the giant swim baits? And fast forward a couple weeks later and here we are. He's a go big or go home guy just like myself. So I feel like us two together, knowing that we might not get a bite all day, we'll fish great together. Truck's loaded up with a couple rods and a couple baits, as well as the boat. We're about to rip to the ramp and meet up with Ty. We'll see if we can make it happen. Around noon right now, I'm thinking is that the dam is letting out water from 12 to 3. We're gonna go fish some deep banks with some giant swim baits and see if we can't pull up a giant. We'll see you guys out there. Let's go whack them. Beautiful boat, but she's spraying water. See what? What is he doing? Actually, this guy right here.
You okay, dude?
He's skating. He's in the zone. Gotta take out the boat plug. Woohoo! Hey, if you want to take a shower, you can just pop right there.
Hold on, I'll call you back.
I'll swing him. You sure?
Bro, what?
Of course I wasn't filming. Well, out here with Ty, as you guys saw, and despite not putting in my boat plug and a couple other mishaps, this girl, short and stout, came up and ate the hinkle trout, my first fish on the bait. Unfortunately, me also being an idiot and a new filmmaker, wasn't recording. Hopefully I got a little bit of it. But
The size of the bait.
it's huge. As you guys can see, probably 5.5 pounder. Giant hinkle trout, got her done. And this particular strain of bass, I'll talk more about in a little, but as you guys can see, characterized by a super small mouth and a super fat belly. We're gonna try and get one that could eat this girl, or at least twice the size, and get Ty on one too, right?
Yeah, I was on the phone when I hit it.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed.
It's usually how it goes though. All right, let's let her go.
Nice fish, man.
Thank you, man. Get back down there to eating like probably 10 bluegill and shad a day with that belly of hers. Good girl. There she goes.
She gone.
Back down to the rock pile. Well, unfortunately, this girl right here has been giving me problems all day. It's kind of been the moral of the story when it comes to fishing and filming. That girl right there, probably only a 5-something pounder, came up and smoked it. So that particular strain of bass, like I was saying, characterized by the fat belly and the small mouth, is actually an F1 one strain. J.R. Lunker or Texas Parks and Wildlife, one of the two, recently dumped 150 fish between 5 and 8 pounds in this lake. And they pretty much covered the whole lake. So every once in a while, amongst your native largemouth, which are characterized by giant mouths and super long bodies, have the 20-inch, probably 5.5, 6 pounders mixed in. We're gonna keep going, and hopefully this time, just hopefully, if we get another one, I'll figure out my camera situation and hopefully get the eat on film. But long story short, followed it off this rock close to the boat and destroyed the glide bait. So we're gonna keep running it. You guys like my hat? See that right there? Silver King. Speaking of Silver Kings, here in the next couple weeks, I'm actually doing some traveling and fishing. And one of those species that I'm going to be targeting is this girl right here, a huge bucket list fish of mine. And it's the right time of year, but that's for another video. In conclusion, I hope you guys enjoyed this review style. Honestly, I'm really trying to diversify my channel with all different kinds of videos. So whatever you guys liked or think I could have done better, please let me know down below. I'm also going to continue fishing that hinkle trout because I really have a good feeling that I can catch a giant on the local lakes on it. Look out for a big one with a big old trout lure hanging out of its mouth. You guys, in a few days, thank you so much for watching again. Peace.